Surprise, surprise! 2 days in a row, we are back once again talking about 6 9 Bit of a spoiler, unless you watched the video yesterday, which a lot of you did, it looks like. Welcome to CTI Radio. My name is Reese, and today we are going to be discussing Dummy Boy by 6 9 I thought I'd do this as a special just because obviously we talked about him coming out of jail yesterday. So keep it going, keep on talking about 6 9 why not? And I do want to talk about, in my opinion, the culmination of what was a massive year for this young man. Seriously, if you look back at 2018, and this came out on the 27th of November, by the way, 2018, you look back at that year for him, and it was so successful, all the way through 2017, and then into 2018, 6 9 was probably the most talked about artist in the world, and I have no doubt about that, 100%. So, we're going to talk about the album today. We're going to talk about how much of a success it was for him, and the reason why it was such a success. It was such a success just because of the marketing ability of this kid, man. I'll put it this way, all I have to say is the Test My Gangsta world tour that he did. Do you remember that in 2017? I think, and then 2018, all this time he was on Instagram, he was going to different cities saying Test My Gangsta, blah, 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 blah. And it was just absolutely insane. You had people coming out online saying, you got to check him when you come to our city. By the way, apparently that's what you have to do in America. Apparently if you're in a gang like the Nine Treys, or, the Bloods and the Crips in general, you have to, it's seen as respectful to check in with the local gangs, just to say, I'm in your city, blah, blah, blah. But he kept on just trolling him, and he kept on just coming out and saying, nah, I ain't checking in, I ain't talking to nobody, fuck this city, I'm the king of New York, blah, blah, blah. And it rubbed people the wrong way. Especially people like the Bloods in California, the Crips, and I think you had the Latin Kings as well in Texas. I think that was the one where he got punched in the face on live in concert. It's fucking crazy. But yeah, absolutely amazing album in my opinion. I do think the amount of attention that he had all year really speaks volumes on this album. Just because of the amount of fucking collaborations that are on this album. And that's not even just including the artists. I mean, just to name some of the artists, you've got Nicki Minaj, Kanye West, you've got Boogie with the Hoodie, you've got Gunna. On producers, you've got Metro Boomin, you've got Spin Kid. Who else have you got on this? You've got Tay Keith, you've got Scott Storch. If you don't know who Scott Storch is, you need to just go do some research, because not even exaggerating, he's probably one of the biggest producers of this generation, Scott Storch. He's worked with everybody you can think of. If you look at the catalogue of music that he's produced, you'll be very amazed. But moving on, immediately, we move on to the first collaboration with Bobby Shmurda. The first song is Stupid. This song is famous because he talks about GS9, obviously because Bobby Shmurda's gang is GS9, and Bobby Shmurda actually makes an appearance on this from jail. That's right, he actually phoned him from jail to get a verse from Bobby, and halfway through the song he does a bit of a freestyle over the phone, keeps it in amazing. He shouts out GS9. You might know GS9 from all the Bobby Shmurda shit that went on back in the day. I will be talking about Bobby Shmurda on a different video, just because I think he's an interesting story in himself. But you might remember the video Cuda, which 6 9 released a while before this, and it had GS9 members in the... You know that video when it had all the Bloods and the Crips and everything in the video? And you saw the guys at the beginning repping GS9. Yeah, that was Bobby Shmurda's mates. So yeah, Stupid. This is a perfect way to open this album, because it's like building and building and building, just a massive crescendo of just amazing beats to follow this as well. A lot of collaborations on this album, and I do believe that this is one of my favourite ones, simply just because of it was pretty innovative of 6 9 to actually call Bobby from prison and say, do you want to be on a song? I remember this first coming out, it was actually the last single released on this album. It was I think it was October, and obviously the album released a little bit after this, and I saw it was 6 9 featuring Bobby Shmurda. What? It fucking blew my mind. I was like, that's amazing. So yeah, moving straight on to Fifi, which is the next song on this album. Nicki Minaj jumping in, and this actually was one of 6 9's greatest compliments. This actually produced 6 9's first top 10 Billboard song. It debuted in July, I believe, and this song just took off immediately. You had so much hype around this tune. When Nicki Minaj and 6 9 started teasing they were going to be working together. Everyone was quite excited anyway, and then obviously it did debut. I believe it debuted at number 8 in the Billboard, along with this album, by the way, which when it did debut, it debuted at number 2 in the Billboard album charts, which is an amazing feat, because it was actually his first studio album. So very impressive once again by 6ix9ine. This song is really good. Murder Beats does a fantastic job with the beat. It was actually Nicki Minaj that convinced Murder Beat to work with 6ix9ine when he came to New York. He was in an interview with, I believe I saw it on No Jumper with Adam 22. He was heading to New York, and he was working with a couple of people there, and Nicki Minaj suggested that he worked with 6ix9ine, and that's when they started working on this song. In my opinion, this is probably, it's got to be either this one or another song that I'm going to be talking about a little bit later, which is my favourite song on this album. Really good album, and 6ix9ine isn't really usually known for his ability to rap very well. He's usually just known as like a hype boy. He's usually known as, a marketing genius, in my opinion, and, just a troll online. He's very good at promoting himself, not always known as the best lyricist, but he does really well, and he manages to keep up with Nicki Minaj, who is in her own right a very good lyricist, in my opinion, as well. Very underrated, but she gets a lot of hate, and I'm not sure why. But yeah, Fifi is the second song on this album, and that just speaks, for me, volumes, because like the first 2 songs, you have two of his biggest hits on this album, and it doesn't slow down from there, because then you've got TikTok after that, featuring Lil Baby. In my opinion, Lil Baby's feature isn't as good as I think it should be. Nevertheless, this is an awesome song. Once again, 6ix9ine coming in with his classic, shouty style, trap style, putting in a really good performance. Then you've got Kika after this, also a really good song. You've got them, I think they're called Steel Pans, I believe. The Jamaican drums in the background. Tory Lanez features on this song doing the chorus. Fantastic song again. This actually, when I first saw this on Instagram, it was on Instagram when he first posted it. I don't know if you remember. It's Tory Lanez and him in front of the DJ set, and he's sort of just dancing to it, and he's miming the lyrics out. That's when I first saw this, and I couldn't wait for it to come out. And when it eventually did, it lived up to the hype, in my opinion. I thought this song was amazing. It sounds like I'm dick riding 6ix9ine, but you've got to think, in 2018, this guy was on top of the world. He was everywhere. Everybody was talking about him. You couldn't go a day, or you couldn't go a day, or you could watch the fucking shops, and like, if someone's talking about hip hop, they're talking about 6ix9ine. 2018 was a mad year for him, and it showed in the numbers that he had, because he was on top of the world. And Spotify, I believe at one point, I think he was like number 4 on Spotify, like in the world, like monthly listeners, which means he had about 50 million monthly listeners. I mean, he's still doing quite well now. He's in jail. He's been in jail for 2 years, and he still has 9 million monthly listeners on Spotify. That's just an example of the impact that he made, and all the hype surrounding the fact that he's coming out of jail now, and you've got to expect he's going to be working on some more music. So I don't know if you're going to be listening to it. I will definitely check it out, mainly for this channel, but mainly just because I'm excited to see what he's going to be working on, and who he's going to be working with, if anyone would want to go near that, because that's got to be a highly radioactive guy right now, especially in the rap community, coming out with all the allegations of him snitching, which he obviously did eventually. But this Tory Lanez song, it was a really good. Definitely go check this out again. I definitely recommend you check this album out, like now, as soon as you finish listening to me, just because just get yourself reminded of how good he actually was. Like all this court case and all that sort of takes away from the talent that this kid actually had, which is a bit of a shame. But moving on to the next song, obviously we've just talked about Kika. The next one is Mama, which is 6ix9ine featuring Nicki Minaj and Kanye West. Kanye West, first of two. What's the word I'm looking for? Collaborations. That's the word I was looking for. That totally slipped my mind there. Yeah, first of 2 collaborations on this album. Obviously, this is Nicki Minaj's second one. In my opinion, this is the best song on this album. Fifi comes a close second, which is why I was debating it a minute ago. But in my opinion, this is my favorite song on this album. You've got 6ix9ine on this with a catchy little verse at the beginning, and he also does the chorus. Kanye West actually, a bit of like, Kanye West, especially in the past couple of years, bit of an up and down sort of guy when it comes to collaborating with people. He either puts in a really good effort, or he just cannot be bothered, when you can tell it in his music, and you can tell it compared to the years, prior, when he was releasing hit after hit. my opinion, this is a really good performance by Kanye West. Like, usually you can tell he's not really into the music, as I say, but he sounded excited and pretty happy to be on this album. Also, there's a story behind this. While they were shooting the music video for this song, Nicki and Kanye, 6ix9ine, that was the famous story when they were shooting the music video when the house got shut up. You might have remember seeing that on the news. That was around this time, and I believe this was the song they were shooting the music video for. But yeah, as I say, this song is my favourite song on the album. Really good. I'm a pretty big fan of this album anyway, and this is an underrated tune, in my opinion, just because obviously you've got Fifi, and then you've got Tory Lanez on here. You've got Tati, which is coming up a little bit later. Like, a lot of people talk about them, not a lot of people talk about this one, and I do think this deserves a little bit more attention. But yeah, as I say, fantastic song. Definitely go check it out. The next one, we've got Waka, which is a Boogie with a Hoodie. Boogie is amazing. First of all, before we even go into this, I believe 2018 and then 2019, he was one of the most successful artists coming out of 2018 and going into 2019. This really like propelled him for me, in my opinion. Like, he was doing quite well, and he had a bit of a buzz behind him, Boogie, in 2018. And then after this album, a lot of people started to pay attention to him. And in 2019, he killed it. He had his own really good album. He had his own great features. Last year, he was on Ed Sheeran's collaboration 6 with him and Travis Scott. Was it Travis Scott? No, it was Meek Mill on 1,000 Nights. That was the song that was on Ed Sheeran's album. But I think this is where it all started for me, when I started becoming a fan of Boogie, because although this is 6ix9ine's album, Boogie makes this his song. He's only supposed to be a collaboration on this tune, and he does really well. He completely steals the spotlight from 6ix9ine in this song. Fair play to him. I'm going to discuss the next two songs at the same time, mainly because I feel like it's sort of, how do I put it? It's sort of like a different sort of lane in this song, in this album. Sorry, these two songs, just because you've got a guy called Annual AA, who is a Latin hip hop artist. He's coming out of Puerto Rico. If you don't know who he is, I'll put it to this way: if you don't know who he is and you don't think it's a big deal, he's currently sitting at 29 million monthly listeners on Spotify. He's one of the biggest Latin rappers in the world right now. He's pretty much the pioneer of Latin trap music. He mixes a little bit of reggae into there. If you haven't listened to him, defo go check him out. His music and most of the projects that he's worked on, even though I can't understand a word he's saying, I'm really into it. I would put him up there with Daddy Yankee and all of the other massive artists like J Balvin and Bunny, who've come out of sort of the Latin scene and sort of made like a worldwide stage debut and just absolutely smashed it. Annual AA, definitely go check him out. But as I say, like 6ix9ine, once again, really showing that he has a bit of depth to his music. Sort of being able to, obviously I think he's half Mexican. So he's in these two songs, he actually raps in Spanish. So as I say, when I say it's like, a little bit different from the rest of the album, this is what I'm talking about. He shows his chops, definitely. And although I can't understand the word he's saying, the songs hit and they smash for me. I think they're amazing, really good. Defo go check these two songs out, and defo go check out Annual AA, 100%. The next one is Kanga. This is Kanye West's second feature on this album. Kanye West in this song doing his best Khalees impression. He sort of like takes the Damn Right Is Better Than Yours from the Milkshake song that she made. He sort of like implements that and like puts it into sort of like his lyric style in this song, which was really weird when I heard it. He must be a secret fan of Khalees or something. But yeah, once again, Kanye West obviously I don't really know his opinion on 6ix9ine now, but at the time I think he was a pretty big advocate of this guy is going to be, pretty big in the next couple of years. Obviously, it didn't really turn out that way, to be honest. So I don't know if it feels about him now. Obviously, all this might damn his career, what's happened in the past couple of years, unfortunately. But, good artists always bounce back, so you never know. Don't ever count 6ix9ine out. A lot of people were counting him out even when he was on top of the world. Everyone thought eventually he was going to get, killed, to be honest. So, never count him out. If he survives the next couple of months and he brings out some good tunes, good for him, in my opinion. Good for him. Good for 6ix9ine. I'm happy. I'm pretty happy that he's out. I enjoy his music. I'm not gonna lie to you. 100% probably yeah, definitely. I would say in the past couple of years he's probably either the fourth or the third biggest artist in the past couple of years. That's just my opinion, especially when it comes to rap. And I'm counting because you've got Post Malone who's really made an impact in the past couple of years. You had 6ix9ine that fucking just dominated 2018 and 2017. Just among other people, obviously you've got Drake who is still going around. You've got Future who's killing it out there in the minute. But 6ix9ine was definitely like up there. And as I say, like it really shows on this album just because of the amount of people who wanted to join in on this project and the amount of people that wanted to contribute to this project. Like it really shows. Obviously, his connections in the gang world probably helped him get some of those connections. Obviously, you know, Blood on Blood reached out to the Crips. His bodyguard was an actual Crip, by the way. That's just a random little fact for you. I thought that was strange, and until I remembered he was actually. Oh, I don't know if it was that he was part of the Crips. I do know he was hanging around with Crips, but he was actually jumped into the Bloods a couple of years later. I'm going completely off track, but yeah, a lot of collaborations, a lot of people contributed to this album. Very good. Which one did I just talk about? Oh yeah, it was the Kanye West one. Yeah, go check it out. The next song, in my opinion, is a sleeper on this album. Definitely, probably one of the best songs on this album. It's FIFA featuring Gunna. Everyone knows who Gunna is. Gunna is really good. He's released a couple of good projects himself in the past couple of years. Very underrated in my opinion. I do think he puts in a really good performance. Probably that might be the best feature on this album as well. And that's a bold thing to say considering all the people that are on this album. But it's either him or Boogie with the best. Yeah, the best feature on this album, 100%. And then finally, just to move into the last two songs, you've got Wando, and this was actually produced by Scott Storch just by himself. He did help produce, I believe it was the Lil Baby tune that was on this album, along with somebody else. But this is a Scott Storch production, and it's actually one of the only songs on this album where 6ix9ine does not have a feature, and he does really well. Fair play to him. Like, as I say, he's not known for his lyricism, but he does really well in this tune. I really appreciate the beat that was made by Scott, and I do think he puts on some good bars. 100%. I keep saying this for every song, but this album is a banger. Go check it out, 100%. And then finally, the last song, you've got Dummy, and pretty much, by the way, every single song pretty much on this album is named after one of 6ix9ine's catchphrases. Obviously, at the start, you've got Stupid. Then you've got Fifi, who he mentions in all of his songs. And then obviously you got Dummy at the end of this. Tati, by the way, I completely went over Tati. Just before I talk about the last song, I completely got distracted by Wando because I wanted to talk about Scott Storch. But I completely missed out Tati. DJ Spin King is on this beat. This is I believe this was the first single released off this album. I believe it was released in April. I remember just sitting listening to music, and this came up as a recommendation because it just dropped either the day before or on the day, and this was before the video even dropped. So I think I was one of the first people actually heard this song. Really good. This is actually in my top 5 best 6ix9ine songs, 100%. I think this is really good. I really love the beat, and he does really well in terms of singing by himself on this song. He also does this by himself, if you know what I mean. Obviously, when I say Scott Storch produced Wando, I don't mean he didn't have any credits on the actual songs. You know when it's released on the credits. He only produced it. He doesn't say like 6ix9ine featuring Scott Storch. But however, on this album and on the actual single itself, Tati does actually say 6ix9ine featuring Spin King. So he is mentioned in the credits, like for example, Metro Boomin is I believe he's mentioned. I can't remember what. I'm gonna have to go back. Was it Metro Boomin? Let's have a look. Sorry, no, Murder Beats on Fifi. Yeah, a little bit like that. Spin King does get a feature credit on this song that obviously because he produced the song, so fair play to him. Yeah, really good song. Definitely go check out Tati. I'm looking at this album now. When I was doing I didn't do like the biggest amount of research on this because it's a recent album, so I didn't really need to. And everyone knows the story of 6ix9ine, so I didn't want to go on for ages about it. But when I was doing the research for this album, I thought to myself, there's a lot of songs on this that that you didn't. I kind of forgot that they were all on the same album, and I really think, in my opinion, this is an underrated album, especially in the past couple of years, because you had all of his best work, and as I say, the culmination of a great year. This had a lot of really good tunes on it, and I definitely recommend you go give it another listen. Last song on it, 6ix9ine, and then you've got Trife Drew. He's a little bit of a lesser known artist, but this is also a really good song and defo an underrated song on the actual album. Defo go check this out. I do what I'm probably going to do the podcast tomorrow, guys. 100%. I'm probably going to be talking about 6ix9ine again, just because it's a big story that he's been released from prison. But that is the end of the album review. Hope you had a really good weekend. Happy Friday, guys, and I will speak to you on Saturday, which is tomorrow, for the big podcast. Treyway.